Welcome everybody back. It's a lovely Friday here at Placed in Shelter with your host Ryan Catarozoli. Today's quarantine update, we're going to do a little bad, a little good, and a nice thank you. So starting out with the bad. Due to COVID-19 and some of the restrictions at General Motors, it turns out that the parts needed for the truck have a lead time of 11 to, get this, 33 days. So I got a rental truck this morning. That's a nice truck, but there's a chance that I might be driving it for over a month. So that's pretty crazy. I was not expecting that. So my truck that's brand new is going to be sitting in a parking lot for a month. The good, Denali is back from surgery and is doing just fine. Although if you were here early enough, you heard that she had to get a big cone on her head. So she's not liking that too much, but you know, we'll make do. She's happy and healthy now. So, and then last but not least, this is a big thank you to you, to everybody here. Thank you very much for attending and being a part of Placed in Shelter. Whether this is your first episode or your 35th episode, I hope that I can give you half of the stuff that you have given me. This has been a huge personal growth and learning experience. It's not every day you get to do this. It's not every day you get to script a show and try to write stuff down, but at the same time come off as conversational, try to figure out which direction you want to go, what information is valuable in respect to your time. And at the same time, it's been really challenging. I hope I come off as confident, but there's been episodes, I'm not going to lie, when we had Deidre on and my audience consisted of Mike Whiteley and David Ralston and Joe Carbonaro was on. And I tell you what, by the end of that show, I'm changing my shirt because I'm sweating pretty good. So this has been a really big learning experience for myself. And quite frankly, moving forward, it's a bit selfish on my part because I'm learning skills that I wouldn't normally learn. So thank you to everybody that has been attending all of the Placed in Shelters. Really, it means so much to me. And the reason I want to bring that up is because I've got a bit of a challenge for you. Number one, think of a topic. It doesn't have to be related to Hatco. It could be just food service. Perhaps we have a lot of reps in here. What are some of your best practices? How have you been getting through the quarantine? Put together an episode and reach out to me and come on the show. And hopefully you can experience some of that same personal growth. When you record yourself doing something that you do all the time, you start to notice some things, whether it's mannerisms, talking with your hands, going like this all the time. You don't get to see those things because you don't see yourself as you're presenting. So you get to, change some of those things or maybe even emphasize some facial expressions because now you're being recorded. Shout out to one of my fraternity brothers, Dustin Carmack. They made fun of the way I said waffles very often. And they also pointed out that I say the word fantastic. Brian Johnson, here's to you, fantastic. They said they could make a drinking game out of how many times I would say that. I also found that I said the word awesome all the time. I challenge you, come on, take some personal growth for yourself. It would be very rewarding. Even if it's not on the show here, if you have an opportunity to do something that's outside of the normal, I'm telling you, as scared as you are, as challenging as it's going to be, take that challenge because I found this to be extremely, extremely valuable. With that, we're going to get into today's show. And today's show, I would like to call the Oddities. Now, I've gone over a ton of Hatco products. And most of the stuff that I've come out with, everybody's at least been familiar with. But there's some Hatco products that you don't think of all the time. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in a category called the Oddities. Now, this isn't making fun of the products, and they're not actually odd, but they do have some, applications and things that we don't normally think about. So moving forward in some of our episodes, I'm going to put together some of the different products that we have that we don't normally talk about. And the first one today is going to be our decorative lamp carving stations and our glow ray carving stations. Now, obviously they're a carving station, it's in the name, but people don't often think about them. So what's the major difference between the DL carving station and a glow ray carving station? Well, as you can see from this, the DL carving station clearly has a DL above it with a lamp, and then it also has a heated base with the swanstone. As I move to the next one, you can see the glow ray carving station has a cal rod element above it with lights, And then it also has an option for a heated base. However, if you are going to be carving directly on it, you can see we do offer a carving station accessory for a wood block. Whereas on the decorative lamp carving station, you do have the ability to carve directly on the swanstone. That is a food-safe material. Although it may dull your knife slightly, you are not going to hurt the swanstone itself. That is actually a material that's all the way through. That's not a coating on the top of it. If you did have some knife scratches, you know, a nice brief kind of a, not fully an SOS pad, but just a nice scrub on the top of it should be able to take out any of those scratches. Both of them have height differences, so you can actually change the telescoping distance between your product and the actual food, or between the heat and the actual food product. So both of them do change. Now, what's the major difference, once again, is going to be presentation, what you're looking for. Now let's talk about kind of a real life example in a real life scenario. This particular unit would be paired nicely with one of our back of the house heated cabinets, because truthfully, you're not going to get a really long hold time putting your, you know, roast or your brisket on top of the carving station and then leaving it there for an extended period of time. Traditionally, what you'll see is that unit go from the heated cabinet, where it does a great job holding, onto the carving station for serving purposes, and then placed back in the heated cabinet for the next rush that's coming through. Although big roasts and briskets, things that have been cooked for 4, 5, 6 hours, do retain temperature really well, this still would not be your sole point of holding that product. So pairing those two together works really nicely. The next product that we have is a bit of an oddity we don't talk about a lot, is our atmospheric water dispenser. And here's what's cool with this. This one actually has 180-degree water coming out, or as you can see here, 195-degree water, so you have some adjustability. And you can have a one-touch button give you 2 quarts, 3 quarts, or 4 quarts of water, which is nice because rather than having to stand there and hold the button the entire time, you can press the button and then walk away. As you can see the little stand down here, that is removable. So if you did want to fill up a bucket, for example, nothing cuts grease like 180-degree water. So mopping the floor, here's a great example. This can give you up to 8 gallons of continuous water before it's going to need some revamp time so that it can come back up to temperature. And more importantly though, this has a 12-gallon stainless steel tank. And if you think back to our booster heater presentation that we did, you know that the booster heaters have a cast stone lining, which means we don't have potable water. But because of the stainless steel tank here, this can be used as potable water. So you can use the water directly out of here. I've seen concession stands use this for their hot chocolate, perhaps reconstituting some soup, things like that. So you have a lot of different options with this. Mashed potatoes, things like that. So those are the couple oddities that we have. I've got a few more up my sleeve for a future show, but that's going to wrap up today's talk. But now we can get to the questions and answer section. So if we go into the chat here, and let's see what we've got going on. I know it was a little heartfelt, but I truly meant that. Are you YouTube famous now after all the video posts? You know, honestly, believe it or not, I'm not hugely familiar with how social media works, but it appears as though the YouTube videos get between 20 and 40 views, but the Facebook posts get more views. And in fact, there was one that we sent out to one of the buying groups for a newsletter publication that got over 2,200 views. So talk about being nervous and people scrutinizing every word that came out of your mouth. You know, there's been some challenge. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. And in fact, one point, there was some discussion about when I used the word smaller versus using the word fewer. And you know who you are. But never in my life did I think those 2 words would be scrutinized in one of my presentations. But I'm thankful for that because like I said, I've learned a lot. Any other questions? As always, great stuff, guys. I'm going to share my screen again. I've got a couple of really good memes today. Again, coming in from Charlene Brennis. I also have one coming in from Joe McAuliffe. And the first one here I really like. First, it was alcohol kills COVID. Then heat may kill COVID. Now, direct sunlight may kill COVID. So, if you see me outside in the yard, drunk, naked, and laying in the sun, mind your own business. I'm conducting important medical experiments. Thought that was a good one. Here's another one. Snoopy, I'm afraid of Corona. And you know what Snoopy says? Have a Budweiser. Or for here in Milwaukee, have a Miller Lite. And the last one from Joe McAuliffe, this one I really, really enjoy because it just yells Hatco. Warning, bars need your help. We can only open at 1/3 of our capacity. Those who cannot drink for 3 are kindly asked to leave their place to the professionals. And my hat is off. Us here at Hatco, Wisconsin, and I know some of the people on here are indeed professionals. So with that, that is going to wrap up today's episode. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you are catching this on YouTube and want to be a part of the conversation or take me up on that challenge and be a part of the show, feel free to use the description or the link in the description below, or send me an email at placedinshelter@gmail.com. If you do want to be notified every time Hatco does have a video, hit the bell notification in the corner and show us you're enjoying the content by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks, everybody.